Hello everyone, we're Group 7. Today we're going to talk about unemployment in Queensland. This is members of our group. In introduction, we're going to talk about three main things. First, why employment is so important. I'm going to give you some example. Social stability. Society needs to be developed by people from working itself or from paying taxes. If a majority of people are working and be able to pay taxes, this can help our society to develop stably. Family happiness. In a family, we need financial support. Employment is the foundation of people's livelihood. Full employment can guarantee the economic source of the family and thus improve the happiness of family members. In recent years, we've heard a lot about unemployment from TV, internet, and other platforms, and that could lead to a lot of issues in our society. So our group wants to analyze this topic. In order to analyze employment, first, we must find the factors that affect employment. There are two key factors. First, national policy factors. The adjustment of the economic structure or industrial structure by national policies will affect employment situation to a certain extent. And a series of policies that propose for a special period will also have an impact on employment. And another thing is personal factors of job seekers. The knowledge, skills, and other conditions of job seekers themselves, as well as their family background, will have an impact on their employment. The last thing is our target. Our question would be impact of COVID-19 on unemployment of Queensland and other aspects that affect employment rate. The answer of these two questions could be benefit for stakeholders, for job hunters, people who is looking for a job get useful information from the analysis. Students could have some ideas for future career, and government could use this information to improve and provide necessary policies for citizens.
Next is about getting data I need. Firstly, from Australian Bureau of Statistics, we get detailed monthly and quarterly labor force survey data, including hours, regions, job duration, industry, and occupation. Secondly, we get more statistics about relation between labor and employment in Queensland during the pandemic years from Queensland government's website. Lastly, we also find more information about tourism region data from Australian government to figure out if there exists any irregularity between the years during COVID-19 and the tourism regions. Since we already got our datasets, how to deal with them? It mainly refers to two aspects. On the one hand, we can do data exploration, transformation, and enrichment to let our data fit for use. On the other hand, we also need to make the data confess. It includes hindsight part about the unemployment rate during the pandemic years, insight part about different factors which may have connection with the rate. It's about what does the data try to tell us. And we also have some foresight parts.
Firstly, we need to make sure that the data is fit for use. For the union of the different data sets, we combine them together by changing the time format as shown in the slide. Besides that, for reducing the data samples, we narrow the time from end of 2014 to the early 2022. Lastly, we also delete the null values in our data set. So what the data tells us? Firstly, let us have a comparison between the numbers of employed persons and unemployed persons. We can find that during 2015 to 2019, both of the numbers are slightly increasing, and which is stable for a long time. After 2019, and the employed numbers is stable comparatively as well, but the unemployed numbers increased rapidly to the peak at the year 2020. While fortunately, during 2020 to 2022, we can see that the unemployed numbers have dropped quickly, while the numbers of employed persons also has a stable increase at the same time. As we all know, the inflation point happens in 2020 when COVID-19 becomes popular. Therefore, we first consider this abrupt increase in unemployment is linked to COVID-19. Firstly, we get the daily increasing number of COVID-19 cases in Queensland. After that, let us narrow the range from the early 2020 to the end of 2021. so that we can get the monthly increasing number of COVID-19. After that, we combine the number of people with COVID-19 and the unemployed ones and take a linear fit method to see if our conclusion is correct. The figure on the right side is the consequences we get after the linear fit. We can see from that the p-value is much larger than 0.05. So our hypothesis is incorrect. The rise in the number of people losing their job is not related to the rise of COVID-19 cases. Next, we will discuss what other aspects would affect employment.
In this part, we will analyze of job seekers' own factors affecting the employment. We focus on the two areas of employment, age and highest education level, to help workers find better ways to increase their job opportunities. The breakdown of the highest education level of job seeker is condensed into numbers to analysis. The people who have the highest education level will get higher score in this part. Although this doesn't reflect a complete linear relationship, the p-value is small enough to prove that our guess is accurate. People with a higher education level tend to be easier to get hired in job seeking. Then we change the range of age group to some specific numbers. Because for a 17-year-old student, he may not have reached his highest degree. So we have to exclude the 17-year-old population when we deal with the dataset. Even though this doesn't reflect a complete linear relationship too, the p-value is small enough to prove that our guess is accurate. Older people tend to have lower employment rate.
Part 5, Storytelling. From COVID-19, from our dataset, we haven't found the definite connection between the rise in the number of employed people and the pandemic. So next, we look into the other possible elements which might affect employment rates. These are graphs for education. The left graph is a percentage of employment and level of education with both genders. You can see that higher education tend to have more percentage of employment, which means you could have more opportunities to get employed. Besides, the graph in the right is distinguished by gender. We can see for level 6 of education, both male and female have high chance of employment. In general, we found out even though there are small fluctuations between low level, there is an increasing trend of employment according to high level education. And for age, we mainly consider about the range of age which have the opportunity to get full-time jobs. From our research, we also figured out that people of age between 20 to 32 tend to have an increasing number of employment. But after that, it shows a continuing decreasing trend, which indicate that older age, lower employment rate. And at last, we can see from the picture industrial mean job element by gender that female employment is more advantageous in healthcare and social assistance, education and training, and retail trade industries, while male employment is more in industrials such as construction, manufacturing, and professional, scientific, and technology service. Therefore, if you have the relevant professional knowledge in each of these industries, the applicant may be better employable.